would you call if you had to go to the hospital? That's a question that Crissy and Cindy and I dive into from her health collective. And we really talk about building a circle of support and a support system that actually has your back. And we're going to dive into and hear some uplifting and empowering stories, whether you are navigating the parenting journey and raising a family or providing support for families. This episode is going to be filled with practical advice and heartfelt stories that will inspire you to build connections that truly matter. In our most sleep deprived moments, our children will teach us exactly what we need in order to learn and grow into who we were created to be. These are the loving lessons we will learn whether we were wanting to or not. I'm Irene Googe, your sleep coach, and I'm on mission to educate parents on how to help their young children sleep. Welcome to the journey. Hello, and welcome to the Loving Lessons Learned podcast. And I am super excited today. I have two special guests with me. I have Chrissy Fishbane and Cindy Michelson, who are the co-founders of her health collective, based here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And this organization aims to create a collaboration of effort between local women health experts in order to change the conversation around postpartum care and better serve women in the community. And her health collective also provides a supportive and fun community for moms to make genuine connections with others. Welcome, Crissy and Cindy.
Thank
Yay,
you.
thank you. We are so excited to be here with you today.
I have just loved learning to get to know more about you guys and what you're really doing. And I love how you're changing the conversation because I've been blessed to be able to come to some of your events and just to hear the conversation again. It is really exciting just to see the small changes that are happening in the short period of time that I've been a mama. So thank you for all of your work that you're doing out there. I'm wondering if you can tell our listeners right now, like, what is her collective's vision? And how did this come about?
Oh, that's a big story. We need to condense this a lot, Crissy.
I love the story. I love to hear the story.
Should I start? I'll start.
Go for it, Cindy.
Okay. So Crissy and I have known each other. We didn't know each other very long prior to starting the business, but we both were in the fitness industry as fitness and health coaches. And we realized that through talking that she, even though she had a toddler at the time and I having elementary aged kids, were experiencing very similar things in parenthood. She was talking a lot about being lonely, and I was expressing frustration in the school system. I can go into that in a little bit about how that led to our expert directory and whatnot. But as we were talking, we realized that if I'm experiencing it and she's experiencing it, then there must be a lot of other moms that are experiencing the same thing. And so we literally put our heads together thinking of different ideas and ways that we can support moms. And it really has organically evolved from our original vision to what it is today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to jump in there. I totally see the recovering teacher syndrome in the group because when we met some of the experts, it was like, how many teachers are using that superpower of education to bring their gifts and talents in a unique way to really actually impact the world. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was joking about this with someone recently that I think former teachers make the most excellent business owners and or any other profession. Like you have so many skills and capabilities as a teacher that you can implement in other areas. But one thing I will add into the story of what Cindy shared is we really did have the opportunity to speak to so many moms through our previous profession. And we found such a correlation. So many moms were, even if you're surrounded by people, you feel really alone. You feel really just isolated, and motherhood changes so much. It can change all of your former relationships. And it's really hard to navigate if you are alone. And Cindy and I had a really interesting conversation because I brought up the piece of loneliness. And I always love sharing this story because I looked at Cindy and I was like, I think all moms are lonely. And Cindy was like,
Wait a
no,
minute. Wait,
I'm not lonely.
I'm surrounded by a lot of people. I know a lot of people. I don't think I'm lonely. And so then she proceeds to.
Yeah, so I kind of broke it down more because it wasn't the idea of being around people, because moms are surrounded by people all the time, right? It was more so that deep, authentic connection that we are all starved for in this modern day age that we're living in. And to be honest, I don't think it's just moms. I think it's also dads and, grandparents and kids. I think we're all kind of starved for this deeper, more authentic connection. And so I brought that up. And the question I posed to her was, if you had to go to the hospital, who would you call aside from your family, and those immediate loved ones? What friend would you call that would have a key to your house or be willing to pick up your groceries or swing by the hospital to be there with you? And I think that a lot of us are missing those kind of friendships, those kind of deep, meaningful relationships in our life today. And that was really where the idea of Her Circle, which is our mom community, that's where that kind of was born from. And what is amazing is that it was organic, as Cindy said. So it's really been something that has blossomed and bloomed from what our community of moms says they want. It is what they need. It's what they're asking for. So we really do listen to them and try to help take that information and have that help us kind of decide the future direction of our community. So that was where Her Circle was born from. And then the expert directory is another piece of what we offer through Her Health Collective, because as Cindy mentioned, in addition to the loneliness, there's so much overwhelm. There's this feeling of overwhelm as to, who do I trust? Dr. Google is so overwhelming. There's so much information. And I can see, 4 different articles from 4 different experts on one topic, and they're all telling me 5 different things between those 4 experts. So it's really overwhelming. And the idea behind the expert directory was that Cindy and I are your mom friends, your gal pals, and we're the ones that are going to go and vet all of these experts. And we take the time to research each expert that applies on the directory, and we vet them. We speak to moms that have used them. We look at their websites, we interview them. And once they're approved, they're listed on a directory. So, when you're looking for a pelvic floor specialist or nutritionist, you're going to go and talk to your friends, right? You're going to say, hey, I have this issue. Who did you see? Who do you trust? And the hope is that that will be Cindy and myself. And, we're someone that you can come to, your friends, to ask who they should see for this particular issue.
Yeah. That's such a powerful question of like, who would you call if you're going to the hospital?
It was very powerful for me.
Yeah.
It made me stop and think. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know who I would call.
All of a sudden you're going to your phone and you're scrolling. You're like, okay, who would I call? And,
Yeah.
I think it's important to recognize too, like, as a postpartum doula, I sometimes talk with families about like, you have different people in different circles of your life that serve
Very
a
true.
different purpose and in a different season of life too. And I think it's interesting too, because you had the toddler and elementary age child, and sometimes we need each other in those seasons to work
Yes.
through that. So I wonder if there was like a little bit of a mentorship
Oh,
through
yes.
that. Or
We
if
still
you,
do. We still do. So now we've been in existence. Our business has been building for almost 6 years, about 6 years now.
okay.
And in that time, our kids aren't toddlers and elementary kiddos anymore. My kids are now 11 and 14, and Chrissy's little one is now 7. And I think that is a huge piece of our community as well, that we have all of these different varying ages, not only of kids, but of moms. The moms are all different ages as well. And everyone has different skills. They have different gifts that they bring, that they share. And it's hearing all of those stories and hearing all of those gifts that it's very important.
I think it's really powerful. I think it's very powerful to have mom friends that are in the same boat as you. your kids are the same age, you're navigating the same struggle. I think that's very beneficial. However, I think it's also interesting that there's this idea that, hey, you've got a 7-year-old and I've got a 7-year-old, we should be best friends, because that's not always, you're not always going to mesh. You're not always going to be a perfect match. And sometimes, like Cindy and myself, our kids are different ages, but we are a perfect match and we bounce ideas off each other, and she supports me and I support her in different ways too, because, she'll come to me with a question and I'm a former teacher. So I have different insights. It doesn't matter that my kid is younger. I can also be of benefit to a mom with an older kid. So I think that there's, this kind of misperception that we have to find a mom friend with a kid the same age. And watching Cindy's kids in relation to my daughter, that's a beautiful blossoming relationship too, that we love to see, as they are kind of like a big sister role to her. So I think when we think about generations past, where we lived in a big village and it was all the families that came together, and it was all different age kids and it was all different age moms and families, but it was one big unit. And that was how kids were raised. And that's how the families lived. That's what we're missing in this generation. And that's what Her Circle and Her Health Collective is trying to bring back.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm wondering what you have seen or experienced in the Her Circle community. Like, I wonder if there's any collaborations or stories of like hope that mamas that are listening could maybe glean. Because I do find that what you said, like being lonely, you don't realize, like a lot of times parents are like, I'm the only one going through this. I'm like, no, like let me connect you with these other mamas that are going through this. I wonder
Oh
if
my
you
gosh, there are so many stories. I can't tell you how many texts or messages I've seen over the past years where people had sent to us just saying, thank you. I don't know how many times I've heard the phrase, this group has literally saved my life. From moms battling depression and really, really serious stuff and needing that community, to moms dealing with the thick of toilet training. And, we see like a little thread going in our private Facebook group. We also have moms that have come together because they identify as neurodivergent. So we have our neurodivergent spicy mamas group. No, they just called it neurospicy is now what they're calling themselves. Then we also saw a group form that they have neurodivergent children. So they are raising neurodivergent kids, and they now have created their own peer support group, and they get together every other month to just connect and offer support to one another. So there's so many ways where the community has, recognized, I'm going through this. I'm not alone. Look at how many people in Her Circle alone are dealing with this. Let's come together. Let's support one another. So it's been really awesome to see the different ways that they connect and really come through for one another. I mean, when one of our moms has another baby, she pops out another baby, the way this community comes together to welcome that new child into the village and, support not just the family, but the mom, because the mom is so often kind of put on the back burner once baby pops out, right? So not in Her Circle. We remember her and try to show up for her. And it's really awesome to see the ways that the community does that.
That's beautiful. I am wondering if there's someone watching and listening right now and is nervous about getting connected with a group, what advice you might share or give to that mom right now.
Oh, I so much want to speak to this mom. I get it. I understand. I feel you so much. Taking that first step is the hardest thing to do sometimes. And before getting on this call, I was actually thinking through some books that have mattered to me and where I'm at in my life. And Chrissy and I read this book with our community. It's several years now. It's The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. And it's come back around to me because I'm in a new stage of life right now where our oldest started high school and our youngest started middle school. And I noticed that I stall. Like I get invited to do something and I'm like, I don't know. I kind of want to sit and do this puzzle, just more this hibernation feeling. And I feel there's a need for me to almost really encourage myself to step out and do something. And so the year of yes, she was literally saying yes to pretty much any invitation that came her way. And she was evaluating how she felt about it. So I'm implementing that a little bit right now. There's an exploration where we put on a lot of events through her circle. And you can't get to all of the events. That's just not possible. But our goal is to have a mom choose one, maybe two events per month, put it on their calendar, and just commit to going. Because I can tell you that once I tell myself, yes, I'm going to this, it's on my calendar, and I go, I don't ever regret it. It just
Oh,
lifts me up, it brightens my mood. And so try saying yes. I think that that is my recommendation for the mom that's listening right now that's nervous to try something.
I would also just add in my partner, his name is Noah. We were driving home from her event a couple weeks ago, and he's like, you know, I was just kind of thinking, babe, and I kind of realized that when we go to her events, I no longer feel like I'm going to work. I actually feel like I'm going to hang out with friends.
mm,
And I thought that was so cool because I would drag him to so many her events over the years. But what is really awesome is that we are seeing our kids starting to form friendships, and we are seeing our partners starting to form friendships, and it's whole families that are building these relationships. And I guess my point to that is you're probably not going to go to just one event and immediately feel, that you found your home. It's something that does take work. Building relationships takes time and proximity and exposure. So it is something you have to commit to. So yes, we have at least 12 events a month, which is a lot. Don't come to all 12 events. You'll exhaust yourself.
You'll
Trust
burn
me.
out.
Trust me.
well, then you both go
But
to each of the events, or how does that work?
most of them,
Most of
yes.
them.
Yes,
Okay.
we try
Yeah.
to. We try
Okay.
to. That has been an also evolving realization over the years. We noticed that it gets exhausting. We know that the moms can't go to all of these
Yeah.
different
So we'd
events.
Sure.
we'd never want a mom to try to come to all of them, but commit to coming back because you're going to start seeing those same faces again and again.
Mm,
You're going to start recognizing people. You're going to start having those shared experiences that are so
mhm.
important to building a friendship. So you can refer back to, hey, it's good to see you again. I saw you at the community cleanup last week, right? And then you then have that shared experience in common, which is how friendships are born. That's how they're formed.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that's an important thing to note. It's showing up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think of how many times I am like, oh, I said yes to this and I don't want to go. And then I go and I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness I went.
Right? I
You know,
know. I
and
know.
Absolutely.
yeah, it's always the hardest to just go and do that. Yes.
Shonda Rhimes has a beautiful quote in the book that I referenced, Year of Yes. And she says, the comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. And I thought that that was amazing just to think about. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can sit in your house and,
Yeah.
but our relationship's going to grow there. Our friendship's going to grow there.
Yeah.
Also, just want to throw out a disclaimer because I do think we are also very big on mental and emotional health. And I do think it's that sometimes it is important to honor where you are. And maybe you
Sure.
do need a night at home with your puzzle by yourself or just with your family. And that's
For
okay
sure.
too. So just
Yeah.
wanted to throw that out also. Like
Yeah.
sometimes that's what you need too.
Well, and I think that it can be both sometimes. You know what I mean? Like there might be a night where you have to say, no, I need to take care of myself
Yeah.
here in
Mhm.
this season, in this moment. So for sure. But I think that's a beautiful quote. And I also think too, Chrissy, what you were saying is like sometimes we have to keep showing up and we have to
Yeah.
keep practicing these skills, and how much of that will transfer then over to our little ones as they're watching us as parents learn and grow and develop relationships and fresh friendships and what that looks like as we take care of ourselves in that journey. So I think that's just all beautiful and how that works. So you have the her circle for community, and like can anyone join anytime, or what does that look like if someone's interested?
So we very specifically and strategically chose to only open our doors 4 times a year. They're open for a short time, and we have a certain number of spots that we open up each quarter. Our reasoning for that is that we felt it important that we spend that time when these new moms come into our community to really welcome them and to make sure that they feel that they are a part of the village. So we don't want moms to just kind of trickle in and kind of get lost in the shuffle. We have a really concerted amount of time that we focus on them and welcoming in, connecting them with other moms, to kind of make those sort of connections. So we do have a wait list available on our website for a mom to put her name down. And the wait list is always the group that's first alerted when we have an open enrollment period coming up so that they can then grab those spots. And after a certain amount of time, if we have any spots left over, we'll open it up to the general public. So the wait list is accessible from our website. You can sign up for our newsletter, but there's also a way to get on that special wait list. So you'll get our newsletter, but you also want to be on that wait list so you get that first alert.
Well, I'll share the link down below in the description so people can check that out. And I'm wondering if someone is just virtual, do they have an option to connect, or is it only in person?
We do have a virtual membership option. Yes, Cindy, do you want to share about that?
Yes, the virtual option is attached to, I think, maybe 3 of our events now per month are virtual. We try to add in others. For example, quarterly, we have a roundtable with our experts that is virtual. We have our conversation circle, which is like a book club, but we all know motherhood has times of being very busy when you can read a book and times when you just have no way that you can stay up at night or pick up that book. So we do articles or maybe some sort of a TEDx interview or something like that. And we try to have intellectual conversations on that. We also have our book club, which tends to be virtual, but a lot of the events we also do as a hybrid. So we might have people in person that might be local, and then you have your virtual people on the screen as well. So we have a variety of ways for moms to get involved.
That's really great. I love that you do that education piece, because I think sometimes that's the piece, like being able to have real conversation and that intellectual, because sometimes you can get tired of speaking toddler.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I don't know. Every now and then my teenager's like, I'm not one of your toddlers. I'm like, I don't know, seems a little questionable, but
Right.
And I'm just wondering if someone is listening and they are someone that maybe does work with moms, like how do they get connected with you with the expert directory?
Yeah, absolutely. We are always eager to connect with experts. We have an application on our website where you can go and enter in your information and submit it, and we will be in touch. And we look at your website, we look at your social media channels, we'll ask for an interview. And the idea behind that is just making sure that your values kind of align with what we promise our community through Her Health Collective. So we can definitely share that link as well.
What do you say to the parent who is looking for, like, let's say a pelvic floor therapist or a life coach or anything like that? Like, what are your recommendations in choosing a provider and support person?
That's such a good question because I think that the process is really overwhelming. There are so many, and we can all put anything online now, right? We can
Sure.
create our own website and say whatever we want. And I think that that's where it comes back to being really important to come to a trusted resource and your friends and say, I have this issue going on. Who have you seen that this works? So when we're looking for a nutritionist or a pelvic floor PT, or especially someone like a mental health therapist, we all have different underlying issues, and every therapist or practitioner comes with their own specialty and their own approach. And I think it's really important to get a grasp and an understanding of what the individual mom or family is navigating, because the same pelvic floor PT isn't going to be a perfect match for each of them. The same sleep consultant isn't going to be a perfect match for them. So it's really important to get a grasp for the mom's personality and what the issue is, and then navigate from there.
Yeah. No, I think that's so good. I share some of that same wisdom with my parents too, because I'm like, I think you got to interview them and you got to learn and understand. And I love that your directory is, you have multiple choices so that parents can kind of see different perspectives. Because again, like you said, different specialties, different ways of how they support families.
Absolutely.
So, well, I know that we can probably chat all day because it's such a delight to be able to talk about all things mom. But I do want to ask the top 5 loving lessons learned that you ladies had. And so I'm super excited to hear from both of you. So I'm wondering if you have a favorite parenting product or service that you love. Who wants to go first?
I will. I'll go first. So as I was thinking through this, I was like, okay, I'm going to be kind of cheesy and I'm going to say our own services. We did make this business based on our own needs. So the directory of experts. But if I was to think beyond that and what has been a really important service in our lives, it would be our local library, the public libraries. We have been taking our children to the libraries since they were babies, toddlers, and they have so many wonderful programs. And it's now, even now, it's our happy place. Our kids love to go to the library. They love picking out their books. And it's been just a huge service to us in the years that I've been parenting.
Yeah, that's so good. I had not really even thought about the libraries. I think that's super great. And I do think her collective is a really great directory too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
I
think it's
appreciate
okay
that
to
too.
love it's okay to love what you do. I
I
think
love
that's
it.
awesome. Yes, I love it. What about you?
I love that. So I absolutely love that. I'll throw in all the local museums that we have too is another great place to take the kids that's free. But I'm going to go in a product direction with mine. So in my household, we recently had several scares in my kiddos' class at school with lice. And
Oh,
if you've navigated that or had any friends that have navigated the nightmare of eradicating your kid's head and your home of lice, it's immense. So I'm knocking, I thought about this, that I was going to knock on wood as I talked about this, because we have not had lice, and I'm terrified. I
Oh,
really
we
don't want,
have.
my anxiety will go
Girl.
through the roof. But we discovered, I just get it on Amazon, it's Fairy Tales Rosemary Repel Detangling Spray. And we have been using it every day. I spray her hair every day before she goes and brushes and gets ready. So I think that it, knocked on wood again, it has really helped, because she's
for
had like
safekeeping.
she's had 3 cases of lice in the class, and it was like many kids, and we, knock on wood, did not get it. So I'm going to stand behind that as far as now, for now.
Well, that is good wisdom, because sometimes we forget about that in the season of elementary school.
Yes.
And that is a real thing for sure.
Oh my gosh.
It
I think
is.
there is a lice lady. We might need to get her on your directory. I don't know if you have
There
one.
is. It's a great service out in Cary. We've used it. And
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, we need to get her on the directory if she's not there. So there you go.
And actually, one of my friends did use her services, and she also recommended that detangling spray.
detangler.
So just saying.
There you go. There it is. So that is why we need to tune in and listen to these kinds of things and learn these mom tips that go a long way. I wonder what your best self-care tip is, what you do to take care of you. I'm always nosy.
So I'm very open with saying that my journey, everyone's journey is up and down. And I try to be very transparent with my journey and where I'm at. And I don't sugarcoat things for moms, because seasons change. There's not going to be, it's not going to be easier at one stage than another stage. Everything just shifts and it evolves. It definitely evolves. So my self-care tip would be, actually have 2. So one is to find at least one tool that you can fall back on and rely on. So whether that's square breathing, which is take 4 breaths in, hold for 4, release for 4, exhale for 4, something that can ground you and have you take that pause in motherhood. We all need a toolbox. I was listening to your podcast that you just released with Vanessa Roddenberry, and you had mentioned that in there, that building that toolbox. So I would recommend moms take at least one, find something for them. The other one is, and this is my season right now, continue to explore yourself, because it's so easy to lose yourself in the care of other people. And that is what we do. We try to help moms find themselves, their identity. Sometimes they can lose that identity. So try different things. Just try different things and see what you like. And I'm right there with you, moms. Right now, I'm in it.
Oh, I love that.
So
I
good.
would add to that, as a notorious workaholic, I have realized that it's really important for me to kind of set a time window, an actual boundary of when I am working Crissy and when I am mom Crissy, and a little bit of time each day where I can just be Crissy. And that's that Crissy time is really important. And sometimes it's working out, sometimes it's painting, sometimes it's just going outside in my backyard and putting my bare feet in the grass and grounding that little bit, sitting with my favorite book in my hammock. And it might only be 20 minutes, but that time is so incredibly important to just get me back to myself. And I've realized, when I'm spending time with my daughter, but my phone is sitting next to me and I'm thinking about that email that I'm waiting to hear back from, and I kind of just slide over and check it while I'm supposed to be spending time with her. Or when I'm at work and I'm worried about, setting up that play date that I promised my daughter, and that kind of works its way into my work day. So really just trying to segment my life a little bit better. Working from home, it's hard, but it's really important to kind of have those different spaces and those different hats.
Yeah. No, I hope mamas really tune into all of that. Those are all really good self-care tips right there. What is something you never thought you would do or say?
I have to laugh because there's so much. I've even apologized to my mom and my mom and dad for some of the things. I'm like, oh my gosh, you tried to tell me that when I grow up and have my own children, that I'll be saying this someday. It's really, really hard to choose one. So one thing that I never thought that I would do would be to, as we're driving in the car, and let's say I'm trying to find something, turning down the radio. I'm like, just shh, turn down the radio so that
Cindy, this was seriously my answer. Slightly different, but this was seriously my answer. That is so funny. I never thought that I would. My grandfather would always have like soft music playing, and I never thought that I would be the person that would be like, let's just put on some like instrumental guitar while we're driving. Because my nervous system is just so frayed and honest. I'm about to turn 40. I'm not even 40 yet. I'm like, what's happening? I never thought I would do this, but that is so funny, Cindy.
It's really funny. That is really funny. And then the other is like when you're growing up and your parents are like, when I was young, I used to walk 5 miles in the snow to school. And you were like, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, when I was young, I didn't have a phone that I could,
Yes.
just these things. It's so horrible, but it happens.
Yeah. I was telling my boys, I was like, well, back in the day, you just needed a quarter to call a friend. I was like, there were these things called payphones.
And it's horrible when your kids are like, back in the olden days. And I'm like, oh,
I was like, it's not that olden. Like,
no.
Yeah. Oh, it's too funny. But I think there's such beauty in like going back and looking at some of that. I just love that.
Truly.
We go through those seasons, and I think that's the seasons of parenting. Like we do things and they evolve and change over time. So it's kind of sweet to watch how that comes about.
Yeah.
What is one thing you guys want parents to walk away from our conversation really knowing today?
I think there's a quote that I'm going to share with you. It's also from Shonda Rhimes' book. Okay. If I haven't gotten you to read this book by now, then
we're gonna add that to
yeah,
the show notes. Like it's a good book, it sounds like. Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's not one that it's not one you're going to want to read over and over and over, but
Okay.
she's got some really great quotes in there and good points in there. But you have to be willing to be bad at something in order to get good at it.
Hmm.
And that's huge right now for not only me, but for my kids. And it's a constant reminder for me as well. So everything from running a business to parenting to trying out a creative endeavor to, I mean, you have to be willing to try it. And you are going to be bad at it at first, but then as you continue to, if you like it and you continue to do it, you're going to get better at it. And this is actually a lesson that we're trying to teach our kids right now, because it's hard. It's hard to go into something and realize, oh my gosh, I am horrible at this. But you keep at it. I mean, I guarantee the people that are good cooks now, when you first started, were you a good cook and baker? I bet you probably weren't. So
We had to start somewhere.
exactly.
Love that.
I would throw out there that this is such a cliche statement, but I think it's so true. And it's something I've had to go through a lot of therapy to kind of come to terms with and accept. And that is that you are enough exactly as you are, however you are showing up in the world today. You are enough. You are enough of a parent for your child. You are enough of a worker at your career or your job. You are enough of a friend. You are enough of a spouse. You are enough. There was this wonderful, actually a quote also that I saw, and it said that if one day you have 30% in the tank and you've given 30% to whatever tasks or relationships you need to show up for in that day, you have then given 100%. And I think that that is so true. There are some days where we are at capacity, we have only 30% to give, but if that's what we're giving on that day, we have given it everything we have, and that is enough. And I think that that is something that so many parents kind of lose sight of. And we have to remind ourselves and give ourselves that grace to navigate the days of our lives. That sounded like a soap opera. These are the days of our lives. No, but we need to navigate our days and kind of give ourselves that compassion and understanding that not every day I'm going to be 110%, and that's okay. It's enough.
That's so good, Chrissy. If I could add one more, it would be
Yeah.
to make sure that you are constantly reevaluating and checking on your values. Our values may shift throughout your life, but making sure that you're coming back to what feeds your values. If it doesn't feel good to you, probably it's not in line with one of your values. So constantly just reassess where you are with those values.
Yeah, I feel like someone listening to this might not even realize that they need to think about thinking about their values. Like, do they even know what their values are? So, because that was something I discovered through my parenting journey too. So good. And so now I know you both are business owners. And so, what have you learned through this entrepreneurial journey? That's one thing that you might share.
Think that I'm going to stick with what I just said. And it's about values, but be willing to bend to the needs of your audience or your customers without sacrificing your personal and business values. So Chrissy and I even have business values that we adhere to. So HER, the HER, stands for health, empowerment, and respect. And we bring things back to that value and see if it is in line with those before we make changes. And some of the things that our community might ask for might not be in alignment with what we're looking for. So we constantly have to think about that.
I would just add in, you got to go for it. I have realized that in running a business, it's so easy to get lost and trapped under this need to research, this need to get it perfect, this need to have all the credentials and the right ideas and, talk to all the experts and make sure we know we're doing it right. But the truth of the matter is, most people don't really know what they're doing, and you just got to wing it, and sometimes luck is on your side and sometimes not. And sometimes the timing is right. And as long as you're committed and trying your best, something will come of it. You'll make a connection. You'll learn from your mistake. You'll come out and have a better idea of how to do it better next time. So just go for it. Just give it a shot and give it your best effort, because something magical is going to come from it.
Oh, for sure. I love all of that. I love all of everything that you ladies have said. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm going to encourage everyone who's here to check out Cindy and Chrissy's Her Health Collective so you can learn more about the community building that can take place there, or find other experts that might be able to support you in your parenting journey. Cindy, Crissy, thank you so much.
It's been an
Thank you
honor.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
It's such a pleasure. All right. Well, we will see you next time, and maybe we'll continue the conversation and talk a little bit more about those values that we can bring up that parents might need to explore. Thanks for tuning into today's show. You can see all of the details and show notes below. And as you go out into your day, I hope that you'll make it your mission to be calm, confident, and rested as you lead today. Sweet dreams.